What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your Monday afternoon so far. This is NYG Jeffy T 85 here, and I'm just bringing you a little bit of an update around the entire John Collins situation and around the Brooklyn Nets, who have recently reached out to John Collins as of a week and a half ago for apparently maybe seeing if they can make a trade with the Atlanta Hawks for the 26-year-old big man. Now, according to Shams Charania, the Brooklyn Nets are trying to see if they can trade off veteran guard Joe Harris, whom they signed to a 4-year, $75 million deal back in 2020. The Nets are trying to see if they can trade away his contract to the Atlanta Hawks in some type of compensation along with a draft pick to acquire John Collins. Well, the Atlanta Hawks are reportedly not interested in picking up Joe Harris's contract. So the Brooklyn Nets, if they want to try to acquire the big man from Atlanta, they're going to have to try to find some another revenue to be able to acquire John Collins and bring him into the Brooklyn Nets. Harris right now is making $18,642,857 going into the season for the 2022-2023 season on third year of his 4-year deal. And next year he's going to be making $19,928,571 million in the final year of his deal. Obviously, after what the Brooklyn Nets saw in their performance against the Indiana Pacers, and because of the fact the Nets are very guard-heavy right now on their roster, the Nets might be looking to try to shed one of those guards on the outside, but it is going to be very difficult to trade away Joe Harris because of the fact he's making so much money right now, and not a lot of teams are going to be willing to take on that type of contract. So in a way, the Nets might be stuck with Joe Harris's contract. So if the Nets want to try to make a deal, they might have to deal off another one of those guys. Maybe a guy like Seth Curry, maybe even a Patty Mills if he starts playing a little bit better, even possibly dealing away some of your younger players. But right now, the Nets try to include Joe Harris in potential trade talks with the Atlanta Hawks to bring in a guy like John Collins. But obviously, the Atlanta Hawks are not biting on that. You have to wonder now what the Brooklyn Nets are going to do in these trade talks to possibly bring in a guy like John Collins. Would you be willing to part with some of your younger players to bring in a John Collins? Now that they have rejected pretty much a Joe Harris for John Collins trade, would you be able to trade a guy like Cam Thomas or a Day'Ron Sharpe or a Kessler Edwards or a David Duke Jr. mixed in with some draft picks? I'm wondering right now. And I don't blame the Atlanta Hawks. Why would you want to bring in a player like Joe Harris, who's 31 years old right now, who's been inconsistent shooting, who's coming off a major injury this past offseason? Why would you want to bring in a guy that hasn't completely proven himself to be neither 100% healthy or 100% effective on the court? I mean, unless you want to take a chance on that he'll be able to be a complete shooter. But at the same time, the Hawks are making the right decision. They're not stupid. I mean, do they really want to take on almost $19 million of Joe Harris's contract for a player that they already have on their current roster? So, I mean, now what do the Nets do? If they really, really, really want to make a trade for John Collins, would you be willing to part with some of your younger players and include some of your second-round draft capital to bring in a guy like John Collins? That's what you have to wonder. You have to wonder that. Why are the Nets going to be willing to do something like that? I mean, I'm really interested to see what they're going to do. But Shams Charania says that the Atlanta Hawks are not interested in taking on Joe Harris's contract in any potential trade talks for John Collins. And Collins would be a very nice piece on this team. I mean, he is averaging about 8 rebounds per game. He's out right now due to injury, but when he does come back, he would be a welcome help to that front court. Either way, this is going to be something that's probably going to be talked about for the next month or two, as we get closer to the trade deadline, and if the Nets are going to make any moves to try to improve their front court, even after Day'Ron Sharpe had a very impressive showing against the Indiana Pacers on Saturday. The Nets still need to get some more front court help. But I just want to throw out this breaking news right now that the Nets have been told by the Atlanta Hawks that the Hawks are not interested in acquiring Joe Harris and taking on his salary in any potential trade talks involving John Collins. So if you guys like this video, hit the like button below. Sub up if you haven't already to NYGJeffyT85 for more breaking news, updates, and chatter surrounding the Brooklyn Nets. Turn on the bell for notifications on the next video or short around the Brooklyn Nets. And let me know in the comment section what you guys think about the Brooklyn Nets being told that the Hawks are not interested in acquiring Joe Harris in a trade for John Collins, and what the Nets would have to do and who they might have to trade away in terms of draft capital, young players, or current players on the roster to bring in a guy like John Collins to help out their front court for the rest of the 2022-2023 NBA season. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great rest of your Monday afternoon. Take it easy, and let's go New York. Let's go Brooklyn Nets. As always, it's a Nets world, and we all just live in it.